Welcome everyone, Nate from Userlytics here, and today we have a very special guest with us in light of GAAD Day, Global Accessibility Awareness Day, coming up here very soon on May 15th. We are partnering with Perficient to just bring on some different people with different expertise in the accessibility space. And today we have Arun Ramakrishnan, who is on the Perficient team. Just a quick introduction of Arun, 15 years of experience, 8 years with the Perficient team, currently serving as a lead consultant for the global quality and compliance team. Arun was born with profound hearing loss, but doesn't let that hold him back. As you can see, again, with lots of experience in the business space. So Arun, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Nate. It is a and thank you for the warm welcome. My name is Arun. I am from Chennai, India. I have rose to 15 plus as a 40 experience to the 8 years in Perficient at Perficient, a career style of a lead consultant within the quality and competence team and not allowed to think of the norm as LB team stay on that and make sure we are all of us improving and doing things that way. I do not have the experience about it, but availability at I'm still on the learning curve, but I'm thankful to have the support of my family and friends throughout my life that abandoned quality helped me be rooted. My awareness of availability really began when I started to face the need regularly that it major and stayed with me, and I hope to contribute more to availability and subject.
Amazing, Arun. Well, I think such an inspiration to see you again, just excelling in the workspace, excelling with a team like Perficient, and even being willing to jump on here with me today. You know, one of the things I'm interested in, and I think the audience would feel the same. What have been some of the biggest challenges that people with hearing impairments and even other disabilities, face in the workplace? What are some of the things that you've experienced?
Availability started in their own way. Some are built to it to have access to the direct elemental, but two are negative weapon around them. But in some one place, there can be still a lack of positive advantage to all people with any impairment or any disability. Sometimes leaders or team members may evitate or intentionally exclude any impaired people from any opportunity or any benefit that is often not bad and it can be to community matters or accounting basis or simply lack of awareness. For example, number 30 of can a team member to leave from the but community is not about making it is about making it understanding need solve the problem and not actually, I mean, I think no that kind of terminology. It is the provided toward the people with any environment that unable to fully recognize the constituent of people with disabilities and relatively the people with disabilities are really then definite, but that also doesn't entirely make the climate more the climate they don't always cut the teeth to do it and maybe not may benefit evidence that can earn back carrying road and back method that become talent.
Hmm. And certainly a challenge it is. And again, it's quite inspirational to see you kind of pushing through those. I totally understand. It can be difficult, right, to really put yourself in that person's shoes. Even having someone like you on today, right, just kind of hearing from you some of the challenges that you face and people, other people with disabilities face. I think it allows other people to understand and have a little bit more empathy as we all kind of work together. So Arun, one of the things that I would love to hear from you on, right, is what are some of the ways that workplace culture, tools and communication systems can either support or fail people with disabilities, right? I think this will be an important question to help others in the workplace know how we can best support. So if you could help us with that and maybe elaborate with any examples that you have.
Nobody what the got it very important. Nobody but the ability but all the emperor or later have to read the build the ability and the name be as the team member of the corporate culture is vital to make everyday better. We value motivate and allied with goal and the battle role to when a way to remove the any barrier and make the what brain fully available availability be capable not really not just the opportunity to identify but also the right tool work there it and early guidance how to delay every team member to help me give me up to the meeting that go about adaptive app called adaptive and done in my own road and done only it and both physical and physical meeting and may would definitely and allow me to follow carbon mode independently and to do by relying on other the mode to empower me in a built way melody that many to mode to that not empower number and many ways whether it is read that uh, then by the we to take software that often that is the talk of about the pre and powerful notices our companies need to identify this gap and come up with notices that can make a big difference in daily uh, duty and live what believe.
Yeah, so excited. I think there's, I love that you mentioned that tool Transcribe again, and just other kind of great tools out there like screen readers, text magnifiers, right? So I think that I'm really excited for the future and, where AI comes into play. And again, just being more assistive, helping that communication happen a little faster and giving more opportunities to people that have disabilities. Wondering, right? So we've kind of talked about workplace culture. Now, maybe more on like an individual level, right? How can team members, colleagues, even leaders, managers, how can they better collaborate with colleagues who have hearing impairments, right? Something that you've personally dealt with. What are some of the ways that we can ensure just effective communication? And again, if you have examples of things that have happened in your workplace, great. But maybe just in general, what are some of the ways that other colleagues can best communicate with those with hearing impairments?
Okay. Team members, colleagues, and leaders can make a big difference in any adaptive environment, but people with any environment through small but intentional attitude. Many people with any environment really really the embodied the team member and other to have among the quality and making a daily meditated according and embody both government to be with positive attention because good that they might never be a matter of begin Melbourne of baby with that they need to live there when the time to process and it has got that into the confidence or any environment in the energy to do environment everything communication about safety and physical development for the better but definitely need
So good. I think that's something I can certainly work on as well. I'm usually someone who likes to talk fast and go quick. So I think that's a great reminder just to slow down, right? Make sure you're enunciating, allow that other person. And I think that that's even helpful for people who even don't have hearing disabilities. So I think it's a good thing for everyone just to take a chance to slow down and really participate, be active, be present in in any kind of communication that we have. So Arun, maybe we have some maybe leaders, maybe managers out there who are watching, listening in, and maybe they're wondering how can they create, foster a culture of accessibility within their teams or companies. Best to hear from someone like yourself. I'm really interested to see what you think I hear about kind of leadership, management, where that plays a role.
again and manner the rule and therapy and beauty the well-being culture that is of the demand whether culture role of the top-down approach or bottom-up approach but in daily both and apparent availability will be the read as a 10-year revolver or nothing to take off and stating safety and community develop and pension or not benefit for people with disabilities to meet the gun of the gun or something, but not at the web. It is a number beautiful private cut, but maybe it empty it when empathy helpful. It is not enough. But it is matters. Develop culture that I don't happen. Now really not as a obligation, but as a habit of our review as a limited that is when really begin member and middle woman and leadership rule can have a profound impact on what brings content one of the result of the battle instead it of the adapted and leadership what it is empathy, parenting and rooted approach and be very good to be maintained under the leadership of nominated and delegated women and prominent many the rooted radio root with out of more and big opportunity the law about many kind to come with the opportunity to make that tell you the law.
And I can say from experience, I have dealt with Lisa. She is amazing as well. So it's great to see that there are those who, are stepping up and again, kind of giving these, giving some visibility and kind of, I would say like propping up, different people with disabilities. So again, shout out Lisa. And great to see that, not only that you were given the opportunity, but that you, Arun, took the opportunity yourself, right? Because it's easy to have an opportunity and say, hey, I'm not ready for this, or I don't really feel comfortable, but really kind of stepping out on a ledge and putting yourself out there. Again, love to see that. Again, I know I'm kind of peppering you with a lot of questions, so I appreciate you sticking with me. I just want to know maybe what are some small yet impactful actions that leaders can take to significantly improve accessibility in the workplace. So we kind of know about just overall inclusion, opportunity, but maybe kind of some of the smaller impactful things. If you could speak to that, would be amazing.
Accessibility about limiting about doing better day and doing but but it would be never part of the workplace culture. Something really visible and that every level who student Microsoft Teams and have capital data that can enough to be really and that continue but at the place to do that made a big difference. It helped me read, do it, and that's better and the well better. I did the day of a similarly and then it mattered that mattered at perfected and I know it will be me to the mode of a team and come up with other the could benefit and then the company and the out of them of it and you look at the sustainability at the ability and it is me that I never did definitely to and did a sport tournament. I'm a game that United team and everybody to feel that within the team because they are new to me, that unaware of my other problem. There is our parents also. I will be in it with teaching maybe comfortable with native level, but the team that I don't think we to I do be the go in the team to level for me and I'm independent to be when needed and the more tempted part of that ever army to me the team captain study that more active and effort matter accessibility that understanding that I'm never need to make that effort minimum together.
Yeah, what I think is so cool about that is the team set up something outside of work, right? So, everyone on the team kind of getting away from the day-to-day grind, being able to, maybe participate in some kind of sports activity like cricket here, right? And just to kind of allow everyone to connect naturally. So I think that's so cool, not forced at all, right? Arun, team captain. Hopefully you guys won that day, but even if not, I think that overall a big win for the team. I want to move the discussion, if it's okay, to a little bit of the digital side. And again, for those listening, thinking, how can my company, better support my employees with disabilities from the digital front? Would love your perspective on that as well.
The detail availability will be viewed as steadily available, but employable, engagable, and dynamic, not as we did. Company could brand value and deputy company of the aim to add the best talent and the no burn already top step if they know think uh injected without the right to the procedure team or away for example when we add any further development the tools are already in place but if you need to add a developer who are validated or full standard evidence, then I have to dabble to nothing up. There will be confidence to really check and all that. And my daily and confident that will be condemned waiting on the back, but they none of them all good. It nobody embed terribly or productivity, but also opportunity cost of data and frustrated by normally to the stigma can be avoided. Indeed, of meeting and mental attempted to be a part of normally benefit and make impact and meet and do this without attempted the
Yeah, I love what you said there about just kind of instead of special attention, right, make it something that's just normal. And I think kind of the first step is really just to start doing it, right? Because initially may feel uncomfortable for some people, may feel like again maybe a little bit of special attention, but the more that that just becomes a part of the normal process, then it just get normalized for everyone. So I love that. I love to hear that that's kind of already being done, at least in your workspace. So shout out to the Perficient team on that. Um, Arun, what are some actions that management should be taking to make digital workspaces more inclusive?
First of all, companies need to establish connectivity, privacy, and procedures for available systems and their appliances to enable the significant web base is available for everyone. It is not about daily play tool or business assumption or puppet with capabilities that upload and technically did a net of terminology. The real goal is to generate systems that are available that support no abnormal minimal ability but instead within capital in Meadows job team nobody has people with any melody but of the word weapon and nervy element or amendment number as the and they may be hard to follow. They may be valuable, but I'm never be relevant as a way to record meaningful captain key pen read to and also as other but allow them to make that uh, content content and free to benefit them the people and understand them no little them become community to productivity but available nothing into the employment not the when any better with without any disability not everything daily that they want they no confidence daily they will have deep less as to the individual to they need the anyway do it and the what please will be need as the responsibility the liberty
Yeah, so good, Arun. You've mentioned a couple of times things like live captioning and Microsoft Teams. I love how that is, again, not something just for people with disabilities, right? Maybe someone's in a loud area, right? Strong accents, right? So kind of that just overall live caption, I think, is a good call out there. I'm wondering maybe if there are any other digital tools or platforms that you found are kind of are most helpful, most accessible in your work personally. So, any tools, again, I think this is just helpful to get the name of those tools out there. Again, maybe start to just normalize them in the general workspace. So, what digital tools or platforms have you found most accessible and helpful in your work?
that the that they made a difference in what when it matters job team but in life capital with it and attitude is delayed on in the mobile app called identity and cover we to tell and I mean identity solution to it and budget, meaning on confidence that capital and available, but honey and upneedy platform like Udemy and Udemy have become much more available over time. The availability of capital uh, allowed me to engage with content I couldn't remember to really help bring the communication gap and come to be content and creative.
Yeah, I'd love to hear those tools that are really leading the way in terms of, digital accessibility in the workplace. What about some digital tools or technologies that you wish were maybe more inclusive, could be doing better in this area?
Now that we're jumping into the idea of artificial intelligence, the probability technology involves rapidly and soon adaptive tool will be relatively integrated into our everyday life. For example, but around with the capital and reading other left noon enabling later and the begin and they over the power to better many matters like never before.
Yeah, so cool, so exciting. So many cool technologies coming out of, the artificial intelligence AI space. I do agree. I could totally see how smart glasses could kind of really make it very easy to have these different digital accessibility tools just fit a lot easier and more present. So very excited about that and kind of how that. The other thing I think is a good note about that is a lot of those tools that are available now are either quite expensive or maybe not mass produced enough. So I think in the future, as we see like the cost of those come down, as again they're just manufactured at a higher volume. I think very exciting for everyone. What can our listeners do to contribute, right? Because again, there's likely people listening now who are like so empowered by your message, your story, right? And they're wondering, what can they do to contribute to a more accessible and inclusive digital world?
Really competent, ready, really limping chart with awareness and availability well about movement of the world and international and from the bird art and remember the name and little reading and number be open to earning working to read about and do them in every day confidence when you support them they will support you more ever more I do the word helping them the word continually empathy and made it that availability meaningful and minimal not just you or built it people the more we did availability as a need responsibility the role the cut to meet the what bring the duty was for all in
Well, Arun, again, just so impactful to hear your story, get your thoughts. Again, I think moments and conversations like this are a great place to start. And unfortunately, not enough workplaces have started that journey of accessibility yet. But as we get more governance clarity and more push from federal regulations across the globe, right? Hopefully that will kind of stir the pot and get people moving more towards digital inclusion, digital accessibility. And again, just having you here today to share your story, give us a little bit of insight in your daily life and the different tools that you work with, I think is so important. And so I can't wait for everyone to hear this conversation and share this out. We're going to link the Perficient team, obviously. Link yourself as well, so that people can find you and maybe start up a conversation on, hey, what are some of the things that we can start doing in our workplace? Any final words from you that you want to kind of share with the audience here today before we jump?
I would like to that maybe and the word there will be talent and maybe and the other place and the other time member may not help that is looking the key is on attitude be good job stay positive and do it setback the man who a movie forward without losing art or development the more entertainment and the entertainment become the struggle will be and the plus at what you can achieve take a bit about but let it pension at the
Anytime, Arun. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, just being willing to share, being willing to kind of take this opportunity and share your story. I hope that it's impactful for yourself, for the team, and for the larger audience that listens in. Again, Arun, thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll be chatting very soon. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Analytics tells you what? Userlytics tells you why.